Minecraft has a lot of things in the game, a lot of secret updates, a lot of things a lot of people don't really focus or recognize in the game. So today I'm going to react to 20 things you probably did not know about Minecraft. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, it'll help me out a lot. And alright, well, let's get to the video.
If you think you know everything about Minecraft, think again, because in this video I'll show you 20 things you probably definitely did not know about Minecraft. Of course, if you take an azalea bush and bone meal it, it'll grow into a large azalea tree, and generally when I'm doing this I just harvest it with shears so that I can get these leaves to plant them somewhere else. However, if you were going to harvest one of these naturally, by just breaking all the oak logging, interesting, which is that the azalea leaves decay, but not only do they decay, unlike let's say the mangrove leaves, if you break it with a fortune hoe, or even just let it naturally decay, something you may notice is that we're actually getting from these leaves some azalea plants.
Yeah, so here I'm pretty sure the azalea plants are pretty much saplings just for azalea trees. So like here you have the oak tree or the birch tree or spruce or dark oak trees. When you typically mine the leaves, you get saplings, like dark oak sapling or oak saplings. For azalea though, you don't actually get a sapling, you get something called an azalea, which is pretty much a sapling for the azalea trees, pretty much here.
Now you get the standard azalea bushes from the standard azalea leaves when they decay. That's of course a chance. So you can see, for instance, right here, we're going to break a really large number of these flowering azalea leaves. We got 8 of.
So yeah, also I guess the flowering azaleas are the ones that drop the sapling here. Unlike the typical trees you get, like oak or birch, where you can just mine any leaf and you'll get the saplings. Here you have to mine the flowering azaleas to get the saplings here, so okay, pretty interesting.
The flowering azalea plants from just a couple of the leaves. Now the mangrove swamp's main feature is of course the mangrove trees, and the way they generate, if some of the mangrove roots here generate inside of the mud blocks, you will get muddy mangrove roots, which by the way the fastest tool for the mangrove roots that are muddy is actually the shovel and not the axe.
When was it the axe? Like, it's mud. Like, who mines mud with an axe? What? It's like you go onto the forest, right? You want some mud. And you use an axe for the mud. What? You use a shovel, of course. It's like, what are you gonna use? A sword next, is it?
And there's a lot of crazy things about the muddy mangrove roots. For instance,
it's like saying, oh guys, did you know that like the sand, the fastest tool to mine the sand is actually not an axe, it's a shovel. Oh yeah, I totally did not know that. Definitely, yeah, axes. I thought axes were usually the tools you use. Like, what? That's crazy.
You can place them sideways like this, up and down, orienting them just like a log. Unlike, let's say, the roots here, where they can only have their texture have these lines going upwards. But what's also interesting is that if you craft it with mud, you can actually place in a shapeless.
Yeah, I actually did not know you could like craft this type of stuff, because I haven't played the newest version really, so I'm not too familiar with this mud and leaves and mud crafting recipe nonsense. I'm just like, I have a bunch of information on like 1.20 and under maybe. And if this was added in like 1.20, then 1.19. Sure. I should probably play the newest version, shouldn't I now? Okay.
Minecraft's item art style is fairly consistent, and something you may or may not have noticed is that every single item that's sort of long always goes from the bottom left corner of the square to the top right corner, always going that angle and never the opposite direction. You can see that on everything from arrows to tools to even just name tags or items like the pork chop that are not exactly square. They always have that when they have the one side be in the bottom left and the other side be in the top right, except for one item, the echo shard. And you might be looking at the echo shard right now, and it doesn't look too weird, but let's compare it to another type of block that's very similar, the amethyst shard. You do notice that's going in the opposite direction, and it goes in the opposite direction of literally every single item in the entire game.
Yeah, I actually did not know that. Like, I actually genuinely didn't. Like, I know about the echo shards, but I never really thought about it. They actually do go in the opposite direction. Like, you see the swords or the amethyst shards, they like always face the right. The only item in Minecraft I think is the echo shards. They actually face the left rather than the right. So that's actually kind of crazy.
Now, of course, the first step to brewing in Minecraft is always the same, but what happens if you skip turning these into a usable potion effect and put in one of the modifiers straight away? What I find to be incredibly interesting is making splash water bottles. For instance, let's say a mob is on fire, if you throw a splash water bottle at it, it'll actually put that mob out. But as well as that, if you throw it at a blaze, it damages the blaze and is a fairly decent weapon against it. But why stop at splash water bottles? Add a potion of dragon's breath and get yourself some lingering water bottles. It doesn't really work that well if you throw it on the ground. You don't actually have a big pool of water just stay there for a while, like let's say it normally would with a potion effect, but you still can.
Yeah, of course it will not stay there like the overworld. You do it during the Nether. A place made out of fire. Of course it's going to burn instantly. Like, what do you expect? For the water effect to be there for like 30 seconds? Of course not. It's obviously going to burn instantly. Like, what?
Can technically make those. And I think my favorite of all is the fact that if you take those lingering water bottles and combine them with arrows in the crafting grid, you can literally make what's known as an arrow of splashing, or basically a completely useless tipped arrow. Campfires are one of those items in Minecraft that have a lot more uses to it than you would think. So for example, if you right click on a campfire with a shovel, it'll be put out and then you sort of have this interesting decorational item on the ground. But there's actually a lot of really interesting ways of making this campfire be lit again, instead of just, let's say, right clicking on it with flint and steel or breaking it and placing it. So for example, if we get out an anvil and we enchant a bow with the flame enchantment, and then shoot standard arrows with it, we can actually reignite campfires by hitting them with our flame arrows. But it is a really fun and realistic use of this.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Like, they made a cool feature where you could like move the fire like the shovel and then like use a flame arrow or like a bow that has like the flame enchantment and then like shoot it with the campfires to reignite it. It's a cool feature. That's a cool feature.
Minecraft's forests, rolling hills, plains, oceans, and all the other biomes inside of it are all somewhat realistic to real life, and definitely give Minecraft this feel of being a simplified version of the Earth. In fact, so much so that there is only 2 biomes in the entire overworld that are not in real life. And of course, the first one is the one I'm walking on right now. That is the Mushroom Fields, also known as the Mushroom Island. And this biome was added to the game a long time ago, so I'm not exactly sure what made the developers decide to add an unnatural biome game until in Minecraft 1.19, the Deep Dark. Now the Deep Dark not being natural to real life makes a lot of sense, because I'm definitely sure that the lore around the Deep Dark is supposed to be that's sort of corrupting and trying to take over the lower parts of Minecraft's overworld. Definitely the way that it works, by having other blocks being converted into it, it should be seen as a parasitic biome. If a mob or player is given the invisibility effect, they completely disappear. Even if you also have the invisibility effect, that mob, entity, or player just cannot be seen anymore. As you can of course see right here, for instance, we have a massive number of mobs that have just disappeared. But what if I told you that inside of spectator mode, all of these mobs suddenly turn visible? You'll in fact see right here, we can see a strange ghostly outline of all these mobs. For instance, these 2 frogs here are something as large as the cows, and I think the only reason why this is that if you right click on the mob, then of course you can know it's there and you can see things through their eyes as you can normally, and so because they retain that little bit of visibility, you can have that as a decent way of knowing where those invisible mobs are. And this
Yeah, that's very obvious. Because here, like, you could like play a game of Bed Wars or something like that. When you die, typically, you could actually like spectate people. You could like you'll see people like they don't even have to be like the invisible thing. You could just like click on someone and you will be them. And the same thing goes with survival or anything like that. Even though like let's say you died and you want to spectate someone, you can absolutely do that even though they're not invisible. And you could also do it when they're invisible. So yeah, when you put invisibility and you're a spectator, you obviously could see anything because you're spectating. You should be able to see everything going on. So yeah, you could see invisible mobs, even invisible players. You could see it in spectator. And you could spectate, because I think they made it be able to see it. First of all, because you're a spectator, you should be able to see everything going on in the game. Second of all, you could also click on the mobs or players to become them. So you could see from their POV what they're looking at. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here.
You might have noticed if you play Minecraft Java Edition that you go into a cave that you just found, the game is in hard difficulty, and you see basically no mobs. Then why is it that, let's say later on in the game you go to a super small cave and it's literally full with hundreds and hundreds of hostile mobs? Well, it's because of an interesting effect known as local difficulty. Now local difficulty is a background effect, which means the longer you're in an area for, the more difficult it becomes, the more mobs can generate in that area, but as well as that some other things change as well. So for instance, the percentage of mobs that can pick up and hold items is made much higher, and you have to be really careful about that because let's say you die in an area that has a high local difficulty, also of course known as an area that you've been in for a very long time, then some of your items could be picked up by the zombies or skeletons that are around there. Minecraft.
Yeah, obviously, I also know about this pretty well because I have done 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, but tougher, which like is pretty much a challenge I've done where I played 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, just made it a lot harder. And you could also go and watch that videos here, but also first be on the channel, which is also one of the most accomplished things I've done in Minecraft is that video, so very crazy stuff. Yeah, so typically I do see that very, very often. And I typically go in the caves in my hardcore video. I did not see much mobs at all. Like, the place is like a ghost town. It's like going to the back rooms for a cave, honestly. Like, there was nothing there. Very empty. It was like a ghost town. I'm like, this is hardcore. I thought it was like mobs or something. Like, where there's not even a single zombie there. Like, what? And then I go a little deeper. Then I'm in that chunk area for like 30 minutes or something. Then I see like an entire apocalypse of mobs and zombies just sprinted straight at me. And I'm like, what is going on? And you can see in my video, there's like I'm fighting one mob, and then there's like 3 more mobs, and like another 3 come in, and like 4 skeleton combo, very deadly stuff. Like yeah, very, very crazy stuff. Like when you go down there for the caves, and yeah, especially in hardcore, more difficulty, yeah, there will be a lot of mobs.
1.19 of course introduced the frog, but you may not know as much about this funny mob as you think. One thing kind of interesting about the frogs is although they do tend to like being outside the water, if they do go into the water, they actually have a really complicated swim animation. So for instance, you can see this frog right here when in the water actually has its feet and its legs move in motion like that. What's also pretty funny about frogs is that they will tend to try and jump and land on a lily pad when they jump. So for instance, these frogs right here.
I'll try to keep a bunch of this stuff in because I kind of split this video as 20 things you did not know about Minecraft. And then I showed like 12 things you didn't know about Minecraft. And then someone in the comments could be like, hey, so you said 20 things you didn't know about Minecraft. Where's the other 8? And yeah, I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'll have to show every single one. But some are just like kind of boring facts. But like there's small cool facts. Like frogs could are like more attracted to lily pad or something. Like they have an animation, swim animation type thing. Pretty cool. Probably should keep them in because they're a fact. And I said I'll show you 20 things. So I gotta show you 20 things.
Here are all centered around this lily pad, but if we put the lily pad over here, some of these frogs could definitely try and jump over to it, or try and land in a different area where there is a lily pad sitting down. I think it's so funny how Mojang chose to, let's say, add an interesting swim animation to the frog, but then other mobs in the game like the drown don't even have a swim animation inside of Java, although they do in Bedrock. Now I'm sure that basically everyone who's watched this video has ran into one of these at one point. The desert.
Yeah, if you don't know what the desert pyramid is, maybe go learn Minecraft more because you have no idea about Minecraft. You don't know. One of the most popular structures in the game. Like this structure has I think been on since around before even version 1 came in. Like I think it was on 0.3. Version 0.3 they introduced the desert pyramid. Okay, like this thing is very old. It's been in Minecraft for its entirety almost. Okay, so everyone should be knowing the desert pyramid. Okay, it's a classic.
Desert Pyramid, also known as the Desert Temple. Now these generate fairly frequently inside of the sand biomes. There's nothing really weird about the game calling this a Desert Temple or a Desert Pyramid, is it? As of course the main structure of it is fairly pyramid shaped. However, something that definitely is very strange is this. This is the Jungle Temple, but that's not actually what it's called. This is technically known as the Jungle Pyramid. Now I have literally no idea why this is called the Jungle Pyramid because it looks nothing like a pyramid.
Yeah, speaking of, this is actually the Jungle Pyramid, as Minecraft calls it, or I personally call it a jungle temple because you could kind of say it's a temple, but you cannot really say it's a pyramid because it kind of doesn't look like a pyramid at all. So yeah, I don't really know about that. Like I'll have to explain this or something. Maybe they wanted to make a temple, or maybe they wanted to make a pyramid, and then they're like, wait guys, pyramid is not, it doesn't look that way, or no, how do we make this a pyramid? It's not really working out. They just do this, and then they forgot to change it, or they're like, oh, we already did the name. Oh, I guess it's going to be a desert pyramid or a jungle pyramid. I don't really know. Minecraft has to explain this because like no one really knows. It could be a million different things. Why? Who knows?
in any way, but the strange sort of fact and mystery to me is why this is known in the code as a jungle pyramid. Maybe when this was first being added, the developers had the idea to make this be sort of like a Mayan pyramid-shaped structure. However, the final product we got looks nothing like that, as right now when you're locating something, it's still being typed in as a jungle pyramid.
Yeah, maybe they just actually just wanted to make it a pyramid, and then they were like, guys, it's no pyramid's not gonna really work out. Let's just do this. And then they're like, okay, well, like, this is close enough to a pyramid, I guess. Let's just keep it at that. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Pyramid. Fences are a really great way of adding decoration to a build, and Minecraft has 10, soon to be 11, different types of them in the game. Every single fence is made out of wood, except for one type, and that is the nether brick fence, which are crafted with a 2x2 of nether bricks, and the nether brick fences can be made by having these blocks on either side, with the nether bricks in between to sort of connect them, as if these nether bricks are playing the role of the sticks. And you'll of course notice here all the fences connect to each other, making some really nice and colorful patterns, but they will not connect to the nether brick fences.
Yeah, it's actually weird. I did not know that. I never really even get nether fences or really even ever use them. Let alone like try to connect them, but like that's crazy they don't connect.
In fact, notice that right here, we can fully surround this on every single side with the nether brick fences, and no matter what we do, this just will not connect to the other fences. However, you can use the fact that the nether brick fence does not connect to the other fences as a really cool build element. So for instance, right here, we can make a super small thin little tunnel that we can actually walk down here between these two fences. I would say the most often forgotten about item in the entire game is glow lichen. The glow lichen generates in basically every single type of cave.
I don't know if it's just me. Do glow lichens ever fool you that they look diamonds at some point? At some point, like once or twice. Did they ever fool you from far away that those were diamonds, and then when you got close, they were not diamonds? Back then, it used to fool me a lot. A lot. It used to fool me when they were like very, very recently added. Like it was very new. It used to kind of fool me, but now I kind of got used to it. Now I kind of could tell if they're diamonds or not. But back then, when they like just added them, they actually sometimes like trick me to me thinking that they're diamonds, and then when I get close, I'm like, oh yeah, those are not diamonds. And then I get pretty sad.
It sort of seems to be a fairly useless item, although it does add a little bit of light to an area.
In my opinion, it's very useful. In caves, very useful. I mean, not really very maybe it's a bit much, but they're decent. They give some light to the cave, which sometimes could be pretty useful.
Area, and it is definitely nice to have some light in the caves, as for instance right here.
Like it gives the cave a little bit of decoration, a little bit of pop of light. It's not bad.
All we can literally see that glows things up is over here. There's some of the glow lichen on the walls there. However, there's a lot more you can do with glow lichen than just let it sit on a wall, adding light to caves. Now the great thing about glow lichen is it's super easy to collect with shears. The other thing that makes this a really amazing item is that it's not destroyed by it, but it does instantly block lava and water.
Yeah, that is actually useful. I didn't know they actually could do that. That's very useful. Very useful. I actually did not know that. That's actually very useful.
Water. So for instance, as you can see right here, with just a couple pieces of glow lichen that are really hard to pick out, we can have that lava go in any shape we want. Or for instance, right over
because the lava could get annoying. Like there's probably like something up or something the other side of the lava that you like want, but like you don't want the lava. I usually typically use blocks. Blocks don't do the exact same thing as like a glow lichen would do. Or there are some other stuff you could use, like other than glow lichens, to make the lava not spread, but You find a lot of luck as a case everywhere. It's like actually not bad.
Over here with this water, let's say we don't like what it's doing, we can simply go to a certain area of that, place down some glow lichen in a row, and stop that water from flowing and make it drain out. Something I love about Minecraft is the fact that sheep breeding makes sense. Let's say we take a grey sheep and breed it with a white sheep. What do we get from that? Well, you'd assume light grey, and that is what happens. We have right here a little light grey baby sheep. So let's say we dye a sheep red and then we dye a sheep yellow. Kind of changes their DNA in a sense that they always grow that type of wool. We can then breed the yellow sheep with the red sheep, and we have an adorable baby orange sheep. And this works with literally any single dye crafting recipe in the entire game. However, unfortunately with pets, so let's say some tamed wolves or maybe some tamed cats, the color is not a genetic trait. So let's say for instance right here we have a dog with a blue collar and this one has a white collar. You'd assume both of those mixing would give us a light blue collar. Well, let's turn these both into breeding mode and see what happens. The baby dog or wolf has a red collar. Powder snow.
Yeah, I mean it's a collar. It's not anything to do with genetics or their DNA. It's not. It's literally a collar. Like sheep's, yeah, I could kind of see it because you're changing their DNA pretty much from white to blue, from blue to red. So yeah, they're going to be different. But it's just a collar. Like like what? If you put a blue watch on the other one and the other you put red watch, you're supposed to get a dog with a yellow watch or something. Like no, it's just an accessory there. Like it's not anything to do with their DNA. Like what? Like yeah, because like the typical Minecraft color for the tamed wolf is red, so they will make it red. Like yeah, it's like that's it. Like yeah, they won't get a different color because that one has a red and blue collar. No, like it's just a collar. It's an accessory you put on it. It's like you put a watch on the other one, and you're like, why does the other one have no watch? Or why does it have the red watch and it doesn't have like the light blue watch? Well, the red comes in, like the red color comes in because it's tamed and like it's your pet. So if they don't put a collar on there, look, it won't be tamed, you know. So they have to put a red collar on there because it's like the main color for when you tame a wolf. So they'll put a red collar in there. Like you have to change it. Like it's just an accessory, pretty much. It's not anything to do with the DNA.
Is a somewhat new danger that players have to deal with in Minecraft 1.18 and onwards. And I think most players are aware of the fact that if you wear some piece of leather armor, you can literally just walk right over the powder snow and not have an issue with it. But honestly, something a lot better than just bringing around some stupid leather boots is carrying around a bow that has the flame enchantment or also a water bucket. That flaming arrow can instantly destroy powdered snow blocks that it goes through.
Like I don't recommend using a bow. It's a bit useless. Like if you have a water bucket, it's honestly way better. I personally kind of ignore it because like it's just powder snow. It's not that big of a deal. Like I don't like why would I like waste my time to shoot it? Like why? Like if I don't want anything to do, just walk. And then if you fall, okay, big deal. Use your water bucket or break the 2 blocks and then like use normal blocks or something and just get out of there. Using your bow is a bit use, like you wasting durability on just breaking powder snow is a bit use. You can just break it. It'll take like a second longer. Okay, or use water. I think water is definitely the best here.
As you can see right here, you can use this to clear out large areas of the powder snow. The other great method is the fact that water will instantly destroy any powder snow that it touches. So let's say we go into a big area of powder snow and we place down a water bucket. You'll notice as that water flows over the powder snow, it will simply delete it as it flows over that area, making this entire place be turned from snow into dirt. A funny fact about Endermen is that they actually have the Silk Touch enchantment on their hands. As another fairly strange fact and thing that the Endermen can pick up, that is TNT. You'll notice these Endermen have TNT blocks inside their hands, and in fact it seems like they actually like picking up the TNT more than the other items around here, as a bunch of these Endermen have that there. But overall it's just funny to see an Enderman holding TNT, as you never see that inside of survival. You might think of Dripstone inside of caves to be a fairly boring and useless thing, but
it's useless. But Minecraft added it not because it's just useless. They added it to be annoying. Like that's the whole purpose of the dripstone. So I'm pretty sure it's just to be annoying. Because I like You know, kids are not getting too easy. How to make it harder? Oh, I know. Let's put some dripstone in there. They're like, what is dripstone? Like, let's make something that like dripstone. So it's like they could use the name dripstone. It has to drip something. Like we could make it drip water or lava. But like the stone part, the spikes, let's make it like a spike, okay? And when you jump on it, even if it's from one block, you'll get damaged. And if you fall from like 10 blocks, you just die. You're like, oh, good idea, let's do that.
But it's actually the farthest thing from it. You see, the reason why is that if a trident hits dripstone, or if you honestly just manually break dripstone, you'll notice sometimes you can have these falling pieces of dripstone go onto the ground. And basically, believe it or not, what will happen with this falling piece of dripstone is it causes insane amounts of damage. You saw, for instance, right there, that one falling piece of dripstone instantly killed the pig. But you could even do something like this if you're just above those mobs and you happen to break these blocks, will fall on and instantly get those pigs. But
like I'm pretty sure too. Like dripstones are actually very strong, very powerful item. You could pretty much just like drop it on a player from like I'm pretty sure like 10 blocks. Even if it's like somewhere around 10 blocks, right? Just 10 blocks. Drop it on their head, dead, instantly dead. No questions asked. You could even have prot 4, protection 4, netherite armor. If you drop it from like max height, if not even less, like maybe 100 blocks, drop it on their head, they're dead. It is a very, very strong item, and actually, you know, you could consider it as a weapon. It's very strong, literally very, very powerful.
crazy enough, with our full netherite armor, if we are hit directly with one of these falling pieces of dripstone, just like this, you can see we were...
Yeah, my point right here. They're very powerful, and this is like somewhere around 30 blocks. Maybe 25, 26 blocks. And full nether armor, he's dead. One shot. Yeah, like, very strong. Very strong stuff. Like, give it like 100 for protection 4. Probably could just one tap it too, so like, yeah.
literally instantly killed in full netherite armor by a singular falling stalactite. If you have a soul sand bubble column like this, you can suspend different things in it. So for instance, we could have an ender pearl that just stays floating in the middle of that forever. But making this much more interesting, the same effect actually...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure soul here. So if you put soul sand, and then you put seaweed, like, I don't know how maybe like the water, it just does it. But like, if you just like do it some random place on the ocean, if you just do water and then you like put salt sand in there, it won't work. You have to put seaweed and then break the seaweed in order for it to get the levels effect. So yeah, same thing goes with magma cube. So magma cube does the opposite. So it's the same process. Put seaweed, I'm pretty sure, with the water, and then you break the seaweed. It has the levels effect, but instead of bringing the thing up, it brings it down. I've used this several times in my hardcore worlds. I had like once like a farm, and like it was very, very long for me to go up and down, so I just made these two contraptions. I had one soul sand and one door was magma cube. Like so the magma cube drops me down and the soul sand brings me up. And the soul sand here is definitely the most clutch because that saves me a lot of time. You know, from going up. It just brings me up really fast. Because it was like 100 blocks deep. So like this game this was very useful.
actually works with the fire charge. We just have to do it a little bit differently. Lay down a much larger area of the soul sand, and then to put above it a ring of random temporary blocks. And we'll just put some water blocks around the edges here, just avoiding the 3 blocks in the corners. We'll have a dispenser facing downwards and put fire charges in it, and make that have a bunch of fire charges go into the water, and something pretty crazy will happen, which is if we take a look in the water right here, we actually have some fire charges that are basically having fire that is being propelled and staying inside of the actual bubbles, which I think is definitely pretty crazy, as it's pretty hard in Minecraft to have fire be inside water. Badlands, also known as the Mesa biome, is probably one of the most underrated biomes in Minecraft, but it does have...
Yeah, this biome is actually very good. If you find it, you should absolutely use it to its full potential because you could get a lot of gold here. There's like a gold mine and also a bunch of mine shaft, which is very useful. You could ideally probably get a lot of good stuff from it, so always use them to their fullest. Like absolutely, it's like the gold part. You could use it for the gold part, like if you want to make a bunch of golden apples or something. Very useful. Also, like make sure to explore all of it and get all the chests from the mine shaft because those could have enchanted golden apples and you definitely don't want to miss those.
Have a really interesting feature to it, and that is the fact of the surface level dark oak wood mesa mine shafts. Now these mine shafts obviously have to do with the huge amount of gold that generate around the mesa biomes, showing the fact that there were miners that were here and could mine ores at really high up levels. There's only 3 structures in the entire game that have biome dependent features to them. So the first one is of course villages, and that one is fairly obvious. The second one is the ruined portals, so for instance a jungle ruined portal would sort of have some leaves around it. And the third one is this, that is the mesa biome mine shaft. It's actually strange that it is made out of dark oak wood, because although dark oak wood was added in the same update as the mesa biome mine shaft was, dark oak doesn't really generate anywhere near the mesa biome. Shields are really great inside of Minecraft because you can use them to defend yourself against all kinds of arrows, let's say one shot by a skeleton, which of course will bounce right off harmlessly. But then let's say we have a crossbow that has the piercing enchantment on it, and that arrow goes flying into the air. Well, basically the crazy thing is that basically that piercing arrow can go right through our shield.
What did you expect? I mean, what do you mean crazy thing? What plot was this? You have a piercing crossbow, dude. Of course it's going to go right through your shield. Like what? It's what? Like what? Minecraft made the piercing enchantment for that to happen. Like, why are you surprised? Like, yeah, of course it's going to happen. Like, what? Like, it has the piercing enchantment. Of course it's going to go right through your shield. Like, what do you expect?
Even see our shield lost quite a bit of durability there. If we let's say let another arrow fly into the air and we try and block it again, you'll notice there'll be a specific sound and our shield's durability will also go down even lower. So just good to be aware of this inside of PvP. A piercing arrow is like the ultimate weapon that can be used against someone with a shield, because of course generally they're expecting someone who has an axe who can come up to them and use that axe.
Yeah, not every time they have to go and axe. Like what? Yeah, it's very common, but not typically. Like some people now are using end crystals with end crystals, right? They just like put up city end crystals and then like use it against you, and like you pretty much could get like one tap if you use it very properly. Yeah, you don't have to use an axe all the time. Like you could use also a bow with like damage, damage dealing arrows, harming arrows, pretty much. Yeah, you could use like bows, harming arrows. And like there's a technique where if you shoot it really fast near someone, it does the most amount of damage and they're very powerful. A lot of tricks are now getting developed in Minecraft. Okay, not everyone has to use an axe. Okay, not everyone.
To disable the shield. However, if you have one of these piercing crossbows, you can simply shoot all the way through their shield and they won't even know it hit them. Something you may or may not
I mean, yeah, if that happens, you should probably expect piercing because that's the only thing that could really do that.
believe is that inside of Minecraft, the physics are actually calculated in a fairly realistic way. So you can see, for instance, right here, these waves of axolotls are getting smaller and smaller, and I'll show you what that's representing. Basically, if we set up a command block when we're flying, is the pattern that we bounce after we've hit the ground with those axolotls is actually fairly realistic. And you can see right here we have these little bouncing waves that are procedurally getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, of course it's gonna get smaller, smaller, because Minecraft made slime blocks work like this. The higher you go, the higher you're coming down from, the lower your jump is going to be. So first jump is going to be the biggest, and then they get smaller, smaller, smaller. So the wave you're making is of course going to get smaller, smaller with the jumps. Like it's just that's how it works.
Smaller from the massive bounce we made at the beginning, and you can even see right here the pattern happening again with these axolotl waves getting larger and larger and larger. I think a lot of things make people think that Minecraft's physics are fairly unrealistic, but just using this as an example, it's actually crazy how accurate they can be, making these perfect waveforms on the ground. Anyway, that is 20 things you definitely did not know about Minecraft. Now, of course, you might have known about some of these things, and if you did, be sure to tell me about it in the comments below. If I was able to show you some new things about the game, be sure to press the like button and subscribe to see more content like this. I will see you in the next one, and have a great day. Goodbye.
Yeah, alright. Well, that's pretty much the video here. Shout out to iCraftMC for this. I've used this video. I'll leave this video in the description if you want to go watch it. Alright, thank you guys for watching and goodbye.